Hello and welcome to Asteroid Day, brought to you live from this beautiful venue of Cercle Cité in the heart of Luxembourg City.
And Asteroid Day is truly a global event, with events being gathered all over the world. We have scholars, astrophysicists, scientists, students who are gathered in more than 192 countries for today's Asteroid Day. My name is Sabine van Jafke.
And I'm Lisa Burke, and we're delighted to be your hosts through the course of this afternoon, but not just this afternoon. In fact, if you miss it or you want to see anything again, Asteroid Day is going to be rebroadcast for the next 5 days on satellite TV and online.
And today we have colleagues positioned all over Luxembourg to make sure that they convey exciting experiments, innovations, conversations, and of course, highlights.
Why the 30th of June? Well, it marks the largest asteroid impact on Earth in recorded history, the 1908 Tunguska event.
And this year will of course focus on the role of asteroids in the formation of our solar system, but also on advances in technology to better detect, track and analyze the asteroids. So we're definitely going to have thrilling conversations.
We have so many experts who know all of the answers. And if you have any questions for our panel, you can tweet them in, #AsteroidDay, and we can't wait to hear from you.
So welcome to a thrilling day. And with that, I would like to welcome our first guest of today, who is Marc. He is CEO of the Luxembourg Space Agency, and Mrs. Serres also heads the Luxembourg delegation of ESA. So Marc, over to you.
Yes, good morning, Sabine.
Good morning. I see you're gathered there with some well-known faces behind you.
Absolutely, yes. It's very exciting here to meet with all these astronauts. And, well, they seem to have a more passive role this morning.
I wanted to start off with a question that is actually related to Asteroid Day, and that is to ask you, why is Asteroid Day such an important day, according to you? And also, what makes asteroids such an interesting field of study?
Well, probably some of you have heard that Luxembourg is a very active country in space, first through its history with a world-leading satellite operator in the GeoArc orbit. But in the meantime, we also are following a long-term vision in supporting the development of the use of space resources. And space resources, you can find those on all objects in the solar system. And of course, asteroids are good targets as well, and we expect to find a lot of good resources for the development of the space activities in the future. And of course, the activity today, here, this event on Asteroid Day, is a perfect opportunity to make people aware about not only the threat that asteroids can represent, but also the opportunity thanks to the resources they are also containing.
And I know that we'll be having a more in-depth conversation with you later, Marc, so I just want to keep the dialogue on asteroids. And, you know, some say that asteroids are a real hazard to the planet Earth, and others say it's an opportunity to mine for space resources. What's your take on that?
Yeah, for us, we look definitely at the asteroids as an opportunity. Today we know already that you can find a variety of resources that will be needed for the future activities in space. I think it's obvious that we cannot continue our activities in space just taking everything with us when we go somewhere. And here, exploiting all the resources that we can find where we go in space will be just a fantastic enabler. It will revolutionize the way we will act in space in the future.
Thank you very much for that, Marc. And with that, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Christine, who manages the communication team at SNT. So Christine, over to you.
Thank you. I'm here with Alain Fabre, director of the museum. Alain, can you tell us a little bit more about how this museum came to be?
Yes, the museum is very important. This collection, and the collection of the Natural History Museum of Luxembourg goes back to 1854, when the first showcases showed specimens to the Luxembourg public up to the city. And this collection, this historic collection, was created by people who were exploring other continents and brought stuff from Africa or America back to Luxembourg to show it to the public here. These were mainly animals and plants, but also some fossils, which were shown at that time in Luxembourg. Nowadays the collection changed a little bit. We mainly make research collections that the stuff we are studying, the natural history, heritage, is gathered and conserved in the museum so that other scientific people can compare their works and their results with our specimens. And this allows us to make studies about the evolution of the natural heritage in time, based on the material collection, but also on data collection, which gives the possibility to see the evolution of biodiversity in Luxembourg.
I see that it's a big evolution for the museum itself, from plants and animals to space-related exhibitions. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, exhibitions are covering the biodiversity today and the evolution of plants and animals, but also we are going back and see what minerals are showing, and especially also meteorites, which allows us to tell the story of universe in time, and therefore we are showing the meteorite exhibition on the last room in the museum.
Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're giving back to the team at Cercle Cité.
Thank you very much. And now for our first panel debate, we're going to talk about the moon, in fact, one of our closest space neighbours. And with me for this, we're joined by Rusty, Apollo 9 astronaut, the director of the European Space Agency, Jan Wörner. Very nice to see you again. Marc, you made a wonderful dash into our studio here. And Professor Gongling, thank you so much all for joining us. So, Rusty, I'd like to start with you. We're coming up to the 50th anniversary of, well, I would like you to tell us about the Apollo mission on the 50th anniversary, really, to the moon.
Right, well, this year, of course, is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing, and at least my part of the Apollo program on Apollo 9 as well. And anticipating that, one of the big questions is, what is it that we learned from Apollo, or what was the real significance of Apollo? I tend to be a little philosophical, so I like to look at it from the big picture. And in a sense, you know, from the Big Bang on, the universe has progressed systematically through, you know, physics with atomic things created and molecules, planets, or rather stars forming, exploding, forming. Shift from physics to chemistry, where molecules were forming in big clouds, and then at some point in the evolution of the universe, biology. And that was a big shift from chemistry to biology, because in biology, I mean, chemistry doesn't care about anything, whereas biology wants to survive. So the whole intention of survival comes into the process. A bit later, life, and certainly we as life, but I'm sure that there is other life elsewhere. We're not the only life, I'm sure, in the universe. And so to me, that was the context in which I looked at Apollo. And when Apollo 8, for example, looked back from the desolate moon and the lifeless craters and saw the beautiful Earth rising over the horizon, humanity, with its own eyes for the very first time, understood that we are the life in this small corner of the universe, and we are now evolving to the point where we've come out of the womb of Earth, if you will. I like the birth metaphor. I've called this moment then the moment of cosmic birth. And to me, what we're doing, we've been depending on the mother to provide all of the growth material that we need to grow and develop and to process all of our waste. But we've reached the limit of that, as we now know, with the Earth. And so we look back and see this is time for an evolution, for life to evolve into the larger universe. We've now come out of the birth canal, and so we're moving out into the universe. And what this means is we can stop by using material outside of mom, you know, we can then continue to develop and grow without creating real problems here on Earth. And so the whole idea then of the future moving toward using space resources to continue the evolutionary process, to continue the growth of life, to me is a very important message that's come out of Apollo. And of course this matches very nicely with a lot of the developments, both back to the moon to look at resources there, possibility, or beyond into the asteroids. And so that's one of the messages I get from Apollo.
That's an enormous message. I didn't think we'd go through from the Big Bang through physics, chemistry into biology. Right. You've given us a very brief history of time, as they say. And actually, I saw a lot of nodding heads there as well. So Jan, for you, with the European Space Agency, what's your vision of things with the moon, and also what Rusty's just said? I mean, he brought up rather a few topics there. And he touched also on space resources, which I'll probably come to you, Marc, to talk about in a moment. But for you, Jan, what's your perspective on this?
I'm very strongly against going back to the moon. I think this would be the total wrong thing we can do. You mentioned it, but I would not go to go back to the moon. Why that? 50 years ago, the Americans went to the moon. Yes, it was in Cold War. It was a race in space. It was a single nation with a Swiss experiment on board, but it was still a very national-oriented activity in a race in space. Now, I'm ready that we go to the moon. Yes, I'm supporting to go to the moon, but not back to the moon. But this time we should do it on a global scale, and therefore I always say, let's go forward to the moon. The moon is an excellent body for us because we can test a lot of technologies, so in situ resource utilization. We can also do experiments over there. For instance, we have water on the moon. We have the soil, the regolith. Out of the water, we can either making drinking water or oxygen and hydrogen as a propellant for the future. The far side of the moon, which is not the dark side, I have to say that because several people are saying this is a dark side. Dark side, this is Pink Floyd. The far side of the moon is as bright as the near side, but there you can have an observatory to look deep into the universe. And therefore, for me, the moon in the future is a body for technology, for science and research, but at the same time for international collaboration. And this is, for me, a very important point.
So two very important things you touched on there. We have the international collaboration, a global collaboration, no more the one nation stamping the flag.
I have to say something which our American friend would not like, but for me the dream would be to bring back the American flags. So that means to say now we are really a universal activity, but of course this is a joke. Now I think the Americans did the right step forward to go to the moon. Now next step, let's do it together in a global cooperation without fences on the moon, without walls. In Germany we know what it means to have a wall, so we would like not to build any wall on the moon.
I would like to say we do not in any way disagree at all. In fact, my whole point is that we need to go from this point as Earth people to out into space. We are together. We're one family. When we look back from the moon, what we realize is we're one family. So while we may be European or Russian or American or Chinese, we're one family, one life, and that's what is going to evolve out into, and I agree, not back to, but forward to the moon.
Okay.
But it is, the moon is a step on to Mars, etc. And asteroids.
And further on.
And asteroids.
And just coming back to your second point, Jan, and I'll bring in you now, Marc and Gongling as well. You were talking about using the moon really as a station where you can, I mean, I know one of the most expensive things to bring up into space is water. So perhaps we can garner water on the moon and also other things. And in fact, talking about America, I know recently there was a memorandum of understanding signed between Luxembourg and America, but we'll come back to that with you later, Marc. But just, Marc, from your perspective, the Luxembourg point of view now, in this collaboration, global collaboration, and what Jan Wörner was also talking about, using the moon as a place to use as a resource, in effect. So forward to the moon, and spaceresources.lu is a very big part of what you do as well. So tell us about this.
Well, we want to be part of this family of people that go to the moon in the future, because within the policy that we have developed recently and encouraging the use of the resources in space, we have identified the moon as one very important milestone in this exercise. The study that we have performed shows that most probably the first thing we would do in terms of using resources would be to use the water that we can find on the moon and use it as a propellant, so as a source of energy. So that's the very first step, of course, and there are plenty of other resources and plenty of other applications, and especially now if we go to the moon with human activities, that will be an extremely strong driver to use the resources we have there. Because we cannot take everything with us each time. It's extremely costly, and that's reducing a lot of the elements, the perspective that we have. And so we have today to reflect on going to the moon, forward to the moon, with a clear strategy of when we are there, we use the resources we can find there, so that we can really give the benefit to all these scientific exploration activities that will happen on the moon in the future.
And Gongling, I would like you to actually talk to us about where you work. For those in the audience or watching on television, could you tell us about the university you work in? Because that's a perfect example of international collaboration.
The International University and Space University is a school. It's dedicated for the space education. And within China, we are for the deep space exploration. We are following the NASA and Russia and ESA, and we started our lunar exploration only 15 years before. But in the last few years, we made quite a lot of progress. Especially last year, we landed our probe on the far side, and so it's with a rover, and also because for the mission, for support for the mission, we also launched a data relay satellite to the lunar orbit. And in the school, I'm a professor for the system engineering. And for the system engineering point of view, I think that lunar exploration, we need support from the government. This is why in China, and we have a national program, and we will build a kind of capacity for the ground infrastructures. For example, for the telecommunication, telemetry, and command, and also in the orbit, we need something for the future navigation, telecommunication. And so in the last several years, we had 5 probes to the orbit, and if we are talking with today's topic about Asteroid Day, for the second probe, we also fly the satellite, which is rather close to the asteroid. Is called the Totatis, and which we are thinking is rather harmful for our planet Earth, and to study about the asteroid itself, and also maybe will be helpful for the future asteroid defense. And for the asteroid, we think is sometimes is a kind of threat to our planet Earth, sometimes it's also resources. And for the lunar exploration or the asteroid development, we see how to use it. And at this moment, we still need to make the things clear about the policy issues, the legal issues, and also we need the support, especially for the commercial space company. And normally they are thinking more about their business itself, but if they are starting from the very beginning to invest for all the infrastructures, and it's difficult for them. So I think for the lunar exploration, also for the future asteroid exploration, we need the government support, especially for the beginning and in the future and slowly, and the commercial company can get involved. This is my thinking from the university point of view. And ISU is a nice platform, and we deliver the education not only for the engineering itself, is covering different areas like the humanity and the space business and the law and the policy, and we also have the human performance in the space and also business and management. So it's also a nice place. If someone has the interest to study there, it's a good platform.
Well, you've touched on many points as well, and one of the main things being that education is really important, to educate the people coming up, to enable them to have the skill set that you think, as the experts in the field, believe they would need. So
The strongest skill we need is curiosity. If you have this, the rest you can do. Do you agree with that?
You need a bit of physics and a bit of maths and
curiosity and the opportunity to use it. I think,
of course, that's the will to use it. Let's say, and then opportunity. Because I think you can learn a lot, but the curiosity, you have it or you don't have it. You cannot learn it. That's my problem.
Yeah.
So you have to have it, and then you should have the will. This is already something you can also educate, so that you have the will to do something out of it, and of course something good. That's another point.
But we as seniors, let me say, in this process here of dealing with people coming up in the next generation, need to ensure that the opportunity and the opportunities for innovation are really there to exercise that creativity that always comes with young people. And I think that's a very exciting aspect of some of the private ventures that are going on. All the juices are really flowing in many of the private space ventures today. So I think that's where there's a lot of opportunity for young people in the future. And that's very exciting again. That was before the average age in NASA got to be 65 or something.
But that also brings in as you were both saying actually, both Marc and Gongling, you need the infrastructure developed by the governments or more internationally, the collaborations internationally, in order to set up that infrastructure so the curiosity can garner speed. So I know Luxembourg is doing a lot, and then as well you were just mentioning a lot at your university. So just talk about the education platform in Luxembourg from which people can think about going forward to the moon.
I can only emphasize what has been said here. I mean, we first need to create this enthusiasm with the young generation to go for it. Because if they are interested they will study, even make difficult studies and be trained and skilled for the future. And so in Luxembourg, we decided really to address it from the younger age to the secondary, the higher education level. And this is what we do with the support of ESA. ESA has a specific program to address primary and secondary schools. And that's fantastic. You train the teachers to bring this topic within the classes and create enthusiasm with the youngsters. It's experiments. We had recently a training where the teachers have been trained to make a small rocket, but it's just fun at the same time for the kids. And this is the type of things I think are necessary to create this curiosity, create the interest, so that they want to learn, to understand how it works. And then, of course, we have things that go through higher education. Recently, we had an agreement with our university to have a space master. But it's a specific space master in the sense that we would also like to train or to give skills to the young graduates, business-oriented. So many of them are very good engineers when they come out of the school, but they don't know how a company works. They are not very familiar with this environment, sometimes also policy or regulatory aspects that they just discover then when they come out of school. And also, I would say some have enough innovation, entrepreneurship in themselves, but they don't know what it means to create a company. And so here, the idea is really to complement other types of master degrees with this business-oriented aspect, so that in addition to their technical skills, they have also business skills. And near to that, we also accompany young graduates. This is again in cooperation with the European Space Agency, where they are given the opportunity to work between 1 and 2 years in ESA. And that's fantastic. I think, what can you do best than work in the best European or the best worldwide space agency? You know? And I think this is a fabulous opportunity for these young graduates. And when we are just now selecting the few that will be able to start in autumn. So definitely talent development is crucial for us. I think it's crucial for all of us, not only for Luxembourg. But again, we decided here to be very proactive and to do our utmost to bring this interest and have future skilled people in Luxembourg.
We only have a couple of minutes left, but just to summarize, I can see that you want to jump in. Just with the point that you're about to make, just there's so many things we've touched on. We even mentioned, I know, Gongling, you mentioned the legal framework that we would need internationally to be put in place. Bringing it back to the moon, give me your...
Forward to the moon.
Going forward to the moon. Give me your vision in 5 to 10 years' time of what we can do in the world globally.
So, globally, that's a long story, but just coming back to what we said, curiosity is the basis. Fascination is what we can deliver from space activities, you also from media. Then out of fascination, you get inspiration. That means you think about it, and then you can be motivated to do something either in space or in other activities. So what I believe, what we can really do with the moon, by going together forward to the moon, we can inspire young people and fascinate them to be motivated to do something for our world. I know it sounds a little bit big what I'm saying, but I'm convinced this is possible.
Well, we'll put it to the audience. Are you feeling inspired by the director of the European Space Agency?
A little bit more. Yes.
They're so enthusiastic here.
So I still have some astronaut seats to give, so a little bit more
there
inspiration.
we go, some astronaut spaces available. And just thinking about, I mean, really, you have really touched on so many things, and I know we'll talk about it through the course of the day, and asteroids as well as the moon, but using the moon really as that pivot point, that launch pad. What do you think, Rusty?
Well, I totally agree that this is a step which is available to young people. We need to make this less and less expensive to get into space. The less expensive we make the access to space, the greater the innovation and the opportunity for curiosity to emerge and be expressed. So all of these things are good ideas. We need to remember that we're one family on Earth, and we need to move out as Earth people together. And this is what I look forward to.
And for you, Gongling, have you got a vision for the future of going forward to the moon?
I think for the moon is our first stepstone for the further development for the universe. And but even the moon is rather close to us, but it still takes a lot of efforts. So we need the efforts by generations and for the real lunar exploration. And also I'm thinking we need also international cooperation and for the moon development, and the people should understand each other by culture, by engineering, and also people should work in together. And we have to understand at this moment there's still some difficulties, political difficulties, and really for the people working together. I think for the education point of view, and slowly we also find a way to deal with this kind of obstacles and working together.
Thank you all for working together on this panel. I know we'll be talking to most of you through the course of the afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to inspire our audience here with us in Cercle Cité and those watching. And now I'm going to hand over to Scott.
Hello, it's Scott here for Asteroid Day Live, and I am with Carlos Esparel, who is a lunar mining engineer for iSpace.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for that. So we are we're a global lunar exploration company, and we have headquarters in Tokyo, and we have another main office here in Luxembourg, and we also have another office in the US in the NASA Ames Center. So in iSpace, we specialize in two things. One, we specialize on transportation systems to the moon, and we also specialize on space resources or space resource utilization, and that's why we're really happy to be in Asteroid Day and on the sense of space resources. Now, in terms of transport systems, we have two systems. We're actually working, developing, and designing a spacecraft, which is a lander, and this spacecraft is designed to take us from Earth orbits all the way to the moon, to orbit the moon, to land on the moon, and to deploy systems on the moon. So the second system we're working on is an exploration rover, which is just right here. And the exploration rover is actually designed to define and to read for resources on the surface of the moon, and it also has the capability to take payloads on the surface of the moon. And so in terms of resources, as we know, space is rich in resources, the moon is rich in resources, asteroids are rich in resources, and therefore in iSpace, we have projects on the exploration of resources, on the use of resources, as well as we have actually systems, we're developing systems for the separation of these resources. Now, in iSpace, we have a vision, and our vision is actually to expand human presence to space. And we understand that the only way to expand human presence through space is through the use of space resources, and asteroids are rich in resources. So we just would like to invite everyone to follow us in our social media platforms, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, but especially we would like to invite everyone to support us in our mission in 2021, which we're going to be orbiting the moon, landing on the moon, and deploying our exploration systems for resources.
And so yes, the rover here is Hakuto, which is named for the white rabbit on the moon.
Correct. So Hakuto in the Japanese tradition means white rabbit, and actually the logo of Hakuto is the ears of the rabbit, or the white rabbit.
Marvelous. I think
something else that I would like.
And now we're going to pass over to the Science Center. Okay.
We are here at the Luxembourg Science Center in Differdange with its scientific director, Guillaume Trapp. Guillaume, can you tell us a bit more about the Science Center?
Well, the Science Center is a museum of science and technology, which opened in 2017 here in Differdange, the third largest city in the country. And it's the very first science center of Luxembourg and its greater region.
And what do you offer to people coming here?
We basically have three offers. So first of all, an exhibition with interactive hands-on exhibits, over 100 of them. We have activities presented by science explainers, over 15 shows and workshops. And finally, we have special projects such as teacher trainings for teachers in Luxembourg in connection with space, vocational trainings for students in Luxembourg and connected to future jobs, and so on and so forth.
So it's not just for kids?
Not at all. It's for everyone. Just as for you, Cordula, we have here a magical experiment that you can try yourself. It's a giant lever, about 17 meters long, and with the force of the lever, you can lift a car.
So you're telling me that I can lift this car?
Well, give it a try.
Let's see if this works. And with that, we go back to RTL.
Thank you, Cordula. Now, joining me now is Victor Barr, our regional coordinator of Asteroid Day in Israel. Hi, Victor.
Hi, hello.
How are you today?
I'm perfect, thanks.
Great, great. So, Victor, can you please let us know what great events you guys are planning there in Israel?
Okay, so we basically have two major events. The first one was yesterday. We had a special planetary show at the planetarium of the city of Netanya. We have a cooperation with the Israeli Astronomical Association, and together we put on a show about asteroids, planetary defense, space missions, and all kinds of things. Tomorrow, we're having another event at the village of Yarka up north. And there we will discuss, besides the regular themes of asteroids and planetary defense, we will also speak with Matthias Locke from the Luxembourg Space Agency, and he will tell us all about the legal aspects of asteroid mining and of space utilization. So it will be awesome. I heard that many people are interested and are coming tomorrow also.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much for letting us know. Have a great time over there, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Over to you in the studio.
Who better to rock our world than Dr. Brian May, astrophysicist and legendary guitarist of Queen, who co-founded Asteroid Day. Asteroid Day Live is the only programming dedicated to introducing you to many of the most prominent asteroid experts in the world. We learn by listening to them share their personal experiences and knowledge of how our solar system was formed, how it is evolving, and how we can protect our beautiful blue planet. But this programming wouldn't be possible without the generous support of major sponsors, including the government of Luxembourg and you. You play a critical role in our ability to shine a bright spotlight on the leading work of astronomers, engineers, scientists, space mission operators, and astronauts, our global rock stars, who bring the topic of asteroids closer to people of all ages and remind our government leaders of the importance of funding planetary science. Asteroids play an important role in our lives, from the formation of our solar system to their extraordinary value for future resource utilization, to enabling ongoing exploration of our solar system, and finally, when they impact our home planet. Asteroid Day is more than just a broadcast program. It's thousands of independently organized events in 192 countries. These events are the heart and soul of Asteroid Day, as they connect and engage students on the subject of asteroids. For many students across the world, Asteroid Day is their only opportunity to listen to, learn from, and to meet astronomers, astrophysicists, and astronauts, heroes of the STEM generation. Your support enables the growth of our network of independent event organizers, so more events can take place. It allows us to not only encourage the future generation of scientists, but to grow our online library of educational tools, enabling more people to dig deeper into asteroids and to connect to scientists, observers, and astronauts. Your support enables us to meet the goals of the United Nations Office for the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space Affairs by generating awareness of what we can do to protect our planet. Please consider becoming part of this movement by donating to Asteroid Day today.